Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unveiled Voices. I'm one of your hosts, still Anifah, and here with me we have.
Yes, Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Unveiled Voices. For our very loyal listeners, we say thank you very much for sticking with us.
Zakumullah Kairan. Thank you. Blanket.
Thank you. And if you're listening for the very first time, thank you for joining us on this wonderful journey of Unveiled Voices. We hope that we are able to have the conversations that you would find beneficial and conversations that also sort of relate and resonates with you. And if how was your week? I'm actually feeling very sleepy right now.
Why are you feeling sleepy? I was about to comment that you sound gentle, gentler than I know you to be.
And you would let listeners believe I am not gentle.
So if I asked you to describe yourself, is gentle one of the words?
I wouldn't use gentle, but I wouldn't say more
So
gentle.
there we have it.
Yeah. So yesterday, it's literally like traveling because I went to one of the cities outside of your usual UK cities that you
What do you
know.
mean outside usual UK cities?
They mentioned 5 UK cities outside of London, Manchester.
Because I know where you went to, I feel like I'll just throw it out there, but let me not do that. Typically, you think of London, of course, Manchester, Birmingham, maybe Glasgow, Edinburgh.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. So I went to a city called Telford.
mm-hmm.
It's basically after Birmingham, which
Okay.
is very far, and we went by train. So
Well,
the journey was long. Like was trying to spending the whole of yesterday commuting. I went with my husband. We went to visit one of our friends that
mm-hmm.
also moved to the UK with her family. I mean, at the end of the day, it was good. Like the seeing people you've not seen in a very long time. The last time I saw her was maybe final year in school, so that was like way long. And she already has a kid, so seeing her baby was also good. But I mean, the journey was long. That journey was long. It was long. How about you? How are you? How was your week?
Yeah, maybe if I even jump into myself, just to touch on what you said briefly, you went to see someone over how many hours, and that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Generally, it's a long lost tradition. Being in the West just kind of takes away from you because you kind of use your weekends to recover from like capitalism during the week. But it's very important as Muslims checking on our brothers and sisters and make sure that you are maintaining community ties. It's such a big
Exactly.
part. And I'm sure, even though it must have been exhausting going that far, you still enjoyed seeing
Yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. So
Well done.
apart
Well
from
done.
the apart from the train journey, yeah, it was good to
Do you
just kind
feel
of
like driving would just like also make it easier for you to make the
probably,
trips?
probably,
Okay,
probably.
so you need to do the needful. Do the needful so we can go out trip. Yeah, all right. So my weekend. Oh, what did I do? So Friday was interesting. Let me start from Friday because we now have this family tradition where we try to do something at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So we've done a couple of restaurants, and me being me, I'm like, I don't want to go to another. I mean, I love to eat and chat and reflect, but enough avenues to do that anyway. Like if you live with your partner, you have enough chances to talk, hopefully. And so I picked something weird. In retrospect, it's weird. So I went to do this a tour. I don't know if you've heard about like Jack the Ripper, like yeah. So basically, the whole thing happened in an area known as Whitechapel in East London. Here, it was a walking tour. We're going from places like place to place on where this quote unquote Jack the Ripper did this horrible act. But what stood out for me was not that there was so much history condensed in what they were talking about. For example, I didn't even remember the fact that, England or Britain in those days used to be very tough on like ordinary people, like
Yeah.
working class people. And kids used to work like when I was taking my life in the UK test, you read about these things, right? Like kids used to work for like 12 hours. But when he was talking about it, the tour guide, it dawned on me that, oh my God, like
It's
I
actually
never want to live in the past. You know how people always say, oh, if you had the opportunity, will you go to the future or the past? Like, first of all, no black person should be going to the past.
absolutely.
But
So
then,
how do
like,
you
on
know?
another level, realizing even if you're not black, if you're poor, you're just a normal working class person,
Yeah.
chances are you had a pretty shitty life. And so, like, alhamdulillah for being born,
In this time and
in
age.
this time where we can even complain about our cushy white collar jobs and
Yeah.
lament about like returning to office and all, but like, bringing it back, that the history, the little bit I learned that day, just made me also just grateful on another level. But yesterday was really fun. Yesterday we had this whole fine dining experience. So
Yeah.
to zoom back a bit, I have this like friend called Awa. We used to be in class together. A few years ago, he also moved to the UK, did his master's, got a job, the classic part.
Mhm.
But one thing about AY is he's always been this person who, it wasn't just about like books, like most of us.
Mm.
He was involved in so many different things. At least I remember he had this photography phase. He had this kata photography and all. And then when he got here, he also started to really go into like the cooking. He's always been very comfortable in the kitchen and all. But
Yeah.
what was so interesting to me, because my friend and I, we visited him once, and because he likes to cook, he was just feeding us that day, like his partner was even there, and we're just eating. And when we were leaving and he was escorting us, he said something about how he would probably do a fine dining experience sometime in the future. If we're interested, he will let us know, we'll sign up. Me being, being the foodie, we're like, "Ah, sign us up, or we'll even bring our husbands with us on that day and all." So, some time ago, he reached out and was like, oh, we should fill a form, blah, blah, blah. We'll fill the form. Sometime after, it was like, oh, pay before this date. It wasn't super
Yeah.
expensive. And I didn't have like so much expectations. But for me, the food is enough. But
Yeah.
when we got there yesterday, so it took place in Brighton and we live in London. So we had to make us way, first of all, from the east to
True.
central London and then from central London to Brighton, which is fine. We were going for food, so we're like prepared. And so when we got there, like he actually used his apartment, but it wasn't in his apartment. They had this place where they can rent.
Mhm.
And so everything was set up so nicely. He already told us there were going to be cameras, like, I guess if he's going to parlay this into a proper business and all,
Yeah, you
it
need to.
needs to be so. Yeah, I'm okay with being filmed. Like, we were what there? So we were there, most of the faces that were there were familiar faces. There was even one of our classmates that usually comes in from the US. I was telling him, I said that, do you live here now? Because I see you more than I even see all of the other people that we live together. So even we're like whining each other. And then the whole thing started. So I actually did not know that for fine dining, like it's not just about the food.
Mhm.
There's always a story behind the food, like
Mhm.
why they picked that piece, like that meal in the first place, how the chef connects to it, and
Mhm.
what they are hoping you would feel
Get
from
from
it.
it.
And so, keep in mind, this was a 5 course meal. So we started with like yam and some very nice sauce. And the background of this, like the chef came out as usual, very dressed up, very dapper. And he was like, his childhood in like a kitty or something. He remembers this particular thing. So, like, I'm not the biggest fan of yam, but this yam was
What
perfectly
more?
done. The sauce, oh my God, there were two variants. One was spicy, one was less spicy.
Mhm.
Me, I had the two, like, give it to me. And then there was like wine and everything. And then that's how the all, like, the remaining 4 courses went. And the theme of it was the journey, talking about like
Mhm.
from his childhood to like Lagos to
Mm.
moving here and to kind of exploring here. It was amazing. I have a very small stomach. So by the third course,
You're ready for.
was gone. But it was amazing. Everything went really well. I mean, shout out to A. I hope it's something like, I hope it's the start of like
Great.
something we don't even like know how big it's gonna be. And it also goes back to that thing of most of us there were his friends, and we're starting it today. We don't know what it will
Yeah.
look like. Point being that again, this thing of showing up for your friends, this thing of just be open to where life takes you as well, and this thing of there's always something outside of 9 to 5 too. Because I
Yeah.
feel like our generation was so stuck on our white collar thing. And if we can just zoom out and think about creating value, right? So the value in what he did yesterday for me is about being able to actually connect on a deeper level
Mm.
to people, other people that you don't know as well. Because some people were there yesterday that I had not, met before.
Mm-hmm.
And also just like an appreciation for our journey so far and how it looks different. So yeah, curating experiences
That's really,
within reason, no excesses, no wasting of food.
yeah, that's really nice. And it's also interesting to see. So, like you said, you guys started in school together. This is someone that has explored like different passions. You mentioned you had done photography before. I mean, it's just always amazing to see people like being creative and owning it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm always yapping about I like to paint and
Oh my
whatever.
God.
I'm following different TikTok accounts on painting.
Yeah.
There's one that is so interesting me now is what's it called? Texture designing. So like,
Girl, like, let's be serious. Like,
yes.
if you want to organize paint or sip something, if you want
Yeah.
to, I'm there because it's like these are the things that make life richer, and
Mhm.
they're not breaking the bank. You're not being too
Yeah.
wasteful if you do those things. So it's like, why not? It's like, let's create meaningful experience.
Is it for us? I give us the courage to face our to pursue.
Absolutely. One thing I'm going to comment on, which I saw yesterday before we move on, is his partner was there also.
Mm,
She was like, are you guys okay? Pouring us, like topping up
support
our
you.
drinks, going to check on him. Of course, there was a team there. Like he had they call them sous chef. Someone else working with him. We also had the camera crew, but his partner was there. So if you're coupled up, like don't be your partner's enemy. Don't be the one living their dreams for a living. Like actually support people, actually encourage them, and hopefully things continue to go well. They are going to look back on this time, right? Because
Yeah.
I remember how it started, and you know, it's just great to see supportive partners. Shout out to AY and his babe.
So so what are we discussing today?
Yo, 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 yo. I think this one is very dear to my. So we're
Hmm.
discussing balance. Some people will say work-life balance
No,
because
they don't say work life balance again. They now say work
honestly,
money.
like there are some things these days I'm like,
No,
now I understand our parents are like, I want to lay
yeah,
because
yeah.
things move very fast. So yeah, work-life harmony, work-life balance. For balance, as I like to call it, because what if you don't have a job?
Mm. Mhm.
You need balance in some ways. We can start with what does balance mean to you, Mariam, and how do you think that definition has evolved for you over the years?
It would depend on the phase of life I was or I'm in. So probably when I was in university, balance to me would be how do I maintain that balance between being a student, doing my ICANN by the side, doing my extracurriculars, and still having that sane mind. Like, well, you would argue that in those periods, maybe I didn't have that perfect balance because my friendships and every other thing really
We're
suffered a lot.
suffering.
Yeah. So there's also that, but I found ways to make up for it. So I will probably not be the friend that would be available for every, oh, let's
Thing.
go hang out after class or whatever. But days when I do that, I make it like memorable and have very good time with my friends. So like balance would also mean prioritizing what is
Mm,
important to you at a particular point in time. For me, that time it was important that I finished school with a first class. It was important that I finished my professional exams and also some other things I was doing on the side. So how did I? For me, though friendships were good to have, but if like excessive maybe hanging out with friends were not something that were priority to me
priority at the
at
time.
the time. Yeah, exactly. So I think that would be balanced. if I look at now, balance for me is how do I have that work-life harmony? Quote, so not that I'm working 24/7, 7 days a week, and not
Yeah.
having time for myself and my partner to like
Yeah.
have a life outside of work. Not that
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time for. I think now is also very crucial to maintain friendships and relationships. So,
Mm.
yeah. So, like I said, it changes with time and tide. What is important to me and what personality am I at, like the phase I'm at that particular point in time. How
Mm.
about you? What does balance mean to you?
Honestly, I don't think I really thought about balance like when I was younger. So if I zoom back out to like primary school, secondary school, it's like you have your life, like there's the
Fine.
routine already defined for
Yeah.
you. You basically have to go to school,
Mhm.
come back, whatever chores
Your
have been assigned
assignment.
to you by your parents and your assignments do it. One thing I remember though, like my dad, may Allah forgive him,
And
he never liked the concept of like extra lessons because when I was in like in secondary school, a lot of my classmates used to wait behind to do lessons. And I mean, I have nothing against lessons, but I have an appreciation for the fact that maybe he didn't describe it that way. But what he was really concerned with was his kids being like well rounded, right?
mm,
So not just being all about the books. Because I think
mhm.
my dad figured pretty quickly that we were pretty smart kids, right? And so it was like, outside of that, what else are you doing? Are you actually talking to your kids? Do they have an understanding of what life is about? So I think that was like my first inkling of, okay, when you come home, you go to Arabic school or your Arabic teacher comes to you,
Mhm.
you do this in the house. You're not just in the house as like a figurehead.
Yeah.
You are giving them responsibility as well. Of course, someone like me, I like to read, so I'll have my novels and my books on the side that
Mhm.
I'm sneaking to read, even sometimes at night. So I think when I was young, as I said, I never really thought much of it. It was just like there was this list of things: go to school, come back, Salah, your Arabic classes, blah 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 blah, blah. Done. When I got to uni, suddenly I had this time of you
Nobody
don't
behind
Yeah,
what
you
you.
don't have classes all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? And for some of us, we're very lazy. We would surf the internet, watch YouTube videos and all that. So there was a realization I had sometime in like year 3 in school of like, you don't have to, there's a way where you can live your life strategically and you don't have to like go hard all the time, but you
Mm.
need to go hard when it was
You
important.
need to. Yeah.
Exactly. And that was when I stopped doing like, I think overnights a lot, especially overnights where you would go to the faculty and you read for 2 hours and
And
then
you're sleeping for
sleep.
the rest.
Rather, you can do your 2 hours and then go back to your room and sleep
Yeah.
comfortably. So I think I started getting an inkling of what balance is at the time. For me as well, I always worked. I always tell everybody, so every holiday, either I'm helping someone manage their store or
Mm.
I'm doing something, which made me get an appreciation for time as at when I was in uni. So I think there was a huge shift from childhood of just working with what people have defined for you
Then you have
to
to
now figuring
differentiate.
out what is important to you and what you can achieve within a certain time and just doing it. Now, zooming after uni to work. Look, if you're still in school or if you've not started a 9 to 5, like enjoy your life because it's very different. I remember people saying this to me
Yeah.
during my internship when I came here. The person was like, "Oh my God, free accommodation in central London,
Then
free
you
this in when you like enjoy. You mean like?" And I was like, "Ilosha, what's wrong with this?" But it's true because you don't have appreciation for how much time you have until you actually get into the real world. And really, all the holiday you have is like, I don't know, 30 days or so.
Mhm.
In US, like 12 weeks, 2 weeks. In Nigeria, you might have, but they might not even approve your holidays.
Yeah.
So let's not even go into that. So it needed to shift from, so I think big companies do this really well where like there's a balance in, they even sometimes make you go home early, right? Like, and depending on how senior you are too. So when you're new, They are
You
like,
want
they don't
to.
want you to go through too much. So my first few years, I always look back and say, whoa, like, look at me going home 4:30, I'm up. I'm like, see you guys tomorrow. Everybody's like, going up. And this could also be at just the side of the bank I was working in at the time, right? So it wasn't in London, it was Chester. So the expectations and the culture were a bit different. Now when I moved to a London startup,
Mm,
and this was when, my husband moved here too, right? It's a startup, so by definition, like you're going to work hard. I was new there, meaning I needed to prove myself. One story I like to tell, something I reminisce on at the time, was like, I was always of the thought that when you're young, when you want to work, you have to work hard. Like you have to, I'm talking, maybe my normal closing time is 5. I'm still working at 8, right? Like, and I remember like at a point, me and my husband had this conversation of,
this how
it,
you.
it feels like we're roommates. We're not really, spending time together. We're not really. And I was like, oh, but I think it's normal to just work
Mm-hmm.
hard when we're young. At that point, like I made a realization, or I had a realization of the fact that, life can't be all about work.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are not just here for yourself alone. As much as they are paying you, they only pay you for that time they pay you for. And while a lot of us are like top performers, you've been killing it, you just need to have a realization that as you evolve through life, right, things change.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say right now, balance for me looks like no matter whatever the hell is going on in my work, my 9 to 5, I'm observing my salah on time.
Exactly.
My dhikr is not cutting at the edge. A proper remembrance of my creator, because that is what grounds me. I have time for my family, right? Not just your husband, not just your wife. Like you probably have your parents too. Are you talking to them? Are you
Mhm.
going to see them if you're close to them? So it can't be the same all the time. And I want to make an important distinction of like, there's different seasons in life, right? So even in school, if you are flexing all year long, once exam is around the corner, what do? Tighten up, you read more, you lock in. So there are times even now when I need to lock in, and we can go into examples of that. But you can't be locked in all year long because it's
Yeah.
just not sustainable. You are human, and you know,
I think the way I approach it now is so since I started working full time, I think been I've worked in 2 different places where I had to like sort of start afresh and learn new ways. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think the way I've seen it is I think the first 6 months might be challenging where I need to put in the work. And
you
that's
need to
because
lock in. Yeah,
that's because I need to make that sacrifice in quotes because of making my life easier in the nearest
down the
future.
line.
So for 6 months, understand what I'm into, understand the ways, understand what I need to learn, things that I need to catch up on or be better at, then do that. And maybe also automate what needs to be automated because you actually find out that people that are working more longer hours are because they are doing probably tasks that could be automated. Especially
Manual things. Yeah.
yeah, manual things, especially in finance. I'll give you an
Mm.
example. When I joined this my new role, when I was doing my handover session, I traveled down to Barcelona that year for my
Yeah.
handover session because the guy was based in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And he was walking me through things he was doing, and then he got to this particular place and he was like, oh, he has to do these tasks every month, and it takes him like 5 hours at a go to do this
Mm.
particular thing.
Mm.
In my head, the first ding
You're
ding
like,
in my head is like, nope, no way. The fact that this is not like it's not like an analysis or like something exciting that will change with time. Like
it's already given. Yeah.
yeah, this is the same thing every month that I have to do. But why do I have to spend 5 hours every month doing this thing? I am no way going to do this for 5 hours every month.
Yeah.
What I did was the first few weeks I automated the stacks with VBA, and I can tell you that right now I do that
VBA Visual
Visual
Basic.
Basic Editor. Yeah, I did both VBA and Python. Even though my Python is still rusty, and I will still come back to that. Like in this day and time, there's nothing you want to do that you cannot do. You're just being lazy. Like
Mm.
no excuse that, oh, I don't know Python. Like my Python is maybe basic at best.
Yeah.
I'm able to automate this thing with Python. And now what
Now that we even have tools like the
type
AI,
you
just
see
tell it what you
exactly?
want to do.
It's will write
That
the code
class,
for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. Right now I do that tax 15 minutes every month. Now imagine if I had
Spending 5 hours.
yeah, like just got what he was doing. Like, imagine what that 5 hours every month would be. Now I'm able to save some 4 hours that I don't have to maybe
Yeah,
work extra hours.
yeah.
So my point of yeah, there would probably be that time or that period of
You
time where
need
you
to
have to
ramp
like,
up, you need to lock
well,
in.
just know that this is what you're doing for a short
It's
period.
a sacrifice.
Think,
And you can
yeah,
even be open with your people about it. Like for
mhm,
me, there were times where I was preparing for interviews and like I wouldn't do certain things in the house just
mhm,
because, my husband covers up all those
mhm,
things. Sometimes when I'm like sat at my desk too long, it's like, have you eaten? Okay, eat. Right? So it's like when you lock in, your people need to know, you tell them. And then when, you're able to unlock yourself from it, you again spread the love,
yeah,
don't shirk your responsibilities and do what you have to do. Right. So yeah, I think definitely balance has evolved for me over the
mhm,
years. But do you not feel like at certain points, like the way people talk about balance, sometimes I look at things online and I see like, oh, you know, when it's for just clothes,
mhm,
when it's like, do you think those depictions of balance is actually realistic, or
mhm.
are we the ones overdoing things like,
Yeah. I think so. Those people that say when it's four, just close. If you close four and you're not done what is expected of you, technically,
yeah,
you're still one that you will
problem
come
good
back.
deal?
And you would try you will still come back to it. I think the way I do it, so first stop and early bird, like right from time, because the way I grew up, I always start my morning very early. Like
Mm,
I'm awake as early as 5,
mm.
like, and not that I'm awake and I go back to sleep and if I met my husband, we're like two different people. He like giving into his morning. I'm always up and grateful. Like I'm up
Even
and
when I'm those people that are just happy in the
yeah,
morning,
I'm
you're
up
just
and I'm
up.
just like I'm just active. So because I have identified that kind of person as myself, and that was how I also went through uni together. So even
Mm,
days when I didn't have morning lectures, that was not an excuse for me not to wake up early. I would still wake up early, then go to the library to read in those early
mm.
hours, and then go ease into my classes and all of that. Same thing with work. I'm a very early person. There are sometimes that there's even a story of in secondary school because of my early person. There are like there are seasons when it's darker, it's shorter days and longer
Yeah,
nights.
here in the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I remember that day my wristwatch or my clock in my room was not working or so. So I left home 5 thinking it was 6 and I got
Yo,
to school that early. In my head, I'm weird. Like this
imagine someone going to school in the morning.
yeah. So that's the same thing with my kind of person, even at work.
Mm-hmm.
My contract is 9. I'm so serious, I'm 9. But there are days when I literally start my day as early as 7:38. So I know once I'm able to do everything I want to do, for me, I am able to close early because I had an early start.
Yeah,
You can't just be resuming 9:30 and then you want to try to carry your bag.
vibes. Yeah. Honestly, I think if you are someone who, first of all, you aim for more things, I won't disagree that there are people that can be excellent within that box of
Yeah,
time.
yeah, 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 definitely.
But I would say that if you're someone who wants exceptional results, like extreme things have to be done. So I don't relate to your whole morning thing of I'm not a morning person. In fact, there are sometimes I go to work and I'm just locked in. I don't want to talk to anyone. I mean, I think we're all adults,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when you want to have conversation, hi, or if you don't want to talk, like you're locked in, no one should disturb you. And so, but will I absolutely go to work earlier to lock in some things and finish some things and so that I can leave and move on with that thing early
Mm-hmm.
enough? Absolutely. Right. So at different times, sometimes I might not even be able to focus during the day and all. And I'm like, oh, I'm logging off. and then I can come back like online at night, and I'm just churning out everything I need to do. But I know myself, like my boss knows me, this girl delivers, so
Yeah.
no one is going to question me on what I'm doing right
Uh-huh.
or not. But if you've not built that clout yet, if you've not
You need
proved to
to do
people
work.
that you can actually deliver, you are just going to work at 10, leaving early, or 9, leaving
I
early,
know
and
that's really little
you
vibe.
don't have a pattern of like
Yeah.
delivering. There's a big problem, right?
Yeah.
So me, I'm not one of those people that would cuddle you and say, oh yeah, work-life balance is important. Absolutely. Like, don't burn yourself out,
Mm-hmm.
but know when you need to do what you have to do,
Yeah.
lucky to achieve exceptional results. And it's not just applicable to work. It could be doing a course that gets you into a better job, right? Locking in to push your results from 2-1 to first class, like 2-2 to 2-1. I've seen people do these things like in
Yeah.
school. I've seen the effort it's taking. Like their social lives might suffer for a while. Their friendships might not be like they're there all the time. But what I found is that when you're open with people, at least the people that need to know about your journey, they will even support you and be like, have
We
you read
understand why.
today?
Yeah.
Have you submitted that thing?
Yeah.
They will even be keeping you on track. So for me, the way people talk about balance, like, oh, you shouldn't care, you should only be focused on like your inner self, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. They play. You just be seeing people whiz by you, right? Like you see people doing things and you're like, don't we have the same 24 hours? No, because you've used your 24 hours to watch Netflix and
Yeah.
you've used it to sleep for, I don't know, 12 hours every day. What do you have to show for it? So yeah, a bit tough, but I think it's a message that is needed, that like balance might not be that typical picture that people paint out there, right? It looks very different. I'm curious, like, do you know any time where you felt like overwhelmed or you've actually struggled um to like maintain balance, and did you later identify what part of it was actually stressful for you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think it was necessarily me struggling to maintain balance. It was just me trying to understand the situation, and it kind of took a toll on my sort of perfect order of things, how I
Mm.
usually run my routine.
Okay.
So when I moved to a different role from what I was doing in Nigeria. So
Mm-hmm.
it's already that someone, like as usual, as everybody, you would have that imposter syndrome. There's the first few minutes or first few days where you're like, oh, super excited about the opportunity. And then what follows would be probably you second guessing yourself that did they make mistake? Is it me they wanted
Mm.
to?
Mm.
Is
Mm.
it like,
Mm.
are you sure they really like, am I really like perfect or fit for this and all of that?
Mm.
So I think I was still having bits of that. Then when I moved into the new role was basically different people coming together to work together for the very first time. So,
Mhm.
and different personalities, different nationalities. So people you did not like, it was very from a case of working with a team of only Nigerians to working with a team of different nationalities and also people that had different personalities. So I had like
Mm.
very demanding boss at the time where he was new to the region. He was also new
Mhm.
to the space. So he was bringing this gra effort, and I found that very overwhelming at the time because it was a lot to just take in. And I was also dealing with am I sure I'm like they knew what they were doing when they asked me to go for because of I wanted to sort of impress or sort of just quickly ramp up, and
Ramp up. Oh
yeah,
my God.
I
This
was
is so familiar.
I wasn't sleeping well. My
Mhm.
kind of person, again, like I said, I'm an early morning person. For me to achieve that early morning person, I need
Yes, to sleep
later on.
now.
Exactly. So I wasn't sleeping as much as I should. And because my body clock is already set to, I don't even set alarms. Like
You
once
wake up.
yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
my body is already sort of routinized or
Fine.
familiar
Yeah.
into that schedule. So it started taking a toll. Then I went to go and follow bad gang, and I was drinking coffee that I know that
Mm.
I don't know how to drink coffee. So it was just a lot, and I was doing things outside of what was like what worked.
It was just not you at
It was
all.
not
You know, the
yeah.
system that was not, it wasn't working for you. Yeah.
I think the what finally happened was I sort of broke down because
It's
I
sure that
didn't
broke
sleep.
camel
Yeah,
back.
I didn't sleep and everything. So it was when I was now rest because I had to like take. I think I took a day off, and that was very unusual. Like for me to fall sick is like
Mm,
really, really was really bad. So I think I took a day off, and I spoke to my manager at the time. Again, it's very good to have like very good managers. I maybe
mm.
I'll talk to it, but the very
Well,
best,
I think we should talk about like impact of good
yeah,
managers.
a very good manager and people that can relate to your struggle. So I kind of like explained to my manager, and it was like, yeah, you understand, you understand that yes, it's definitely going to be a lot. Like I literally moved countries, continents. I left everything here, so the change is going to be a lot. So like I needed to take it calm. He's very confident in my abilities, blah 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 blah. So it was also that period that I kind of like took a step back. So like, I mean, you're not this kind of person. You're not a person that takes coffee. Why are you taking coffee? Like, kind of
Mhm.
people, you sleep and you wake up and your brain
And
is
yeah,
refreshed. Yeah,
yeah,
like that's what
recharge.
you
Yeah.
need. So I just knew, okay, what I was doing at the time was not working for me. I was really causing imbalance in my life because
Mm.
it was affecting me. I was not very, like, it was not just me, all of that. So then I just went back, understood the situation. I also understood how to sort of tackle this very demanding stakeholder, understanding what you want. So not just seeing him as confrontational, trying to understand, okay, why is this person
What's
like
driving his
exactly
own?
the issue? Like talk to me face to face. What exactly do you need from me? And I think it went better from there. So yeah,
Mm.
I think that would be how I went from that imbalance that I subconsciously created for myself to then finding my balance back and using it to it.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I think I definitely relate to you on the coffee stuff. One surefire thing of when I know I'm off track is if I've taken two coffees, like cup of coffee in the morning, I know there's something like
Yeah.
it's a sign for me to recalibrate actually. Totally, totally, totally echo that as
How
well.
about you? Has there been a time when you or like season when you struggle to maintain that balance?
So I think this year has been a master class for me. Just so this year, how did we start? I think I started on a note of, oh, I want to start interviewing. I want to get
Mm,
work. It was difficult because I was in a position at work where I was kind of the de facto squad lead at work. In fact, my manager was already talking to me about, oh, we think you're skilled in managing people, looking after people. And I was just so freaked out because internally, it might look like I was composed on the outside and I wasn't having it because I don't know if you've ever managed people, but
a lot.
getting adults to coordinate and work
People
and
managing, I mean, we did projects in school where you had to be like team lead.
girl, like sometimes you have to just pet some people and be like,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
where are
do your work,
you
do
being?
your work.
And I'm like, God, can I just get people that are like me that I'll be able because the way I work is that I'm very proactive with communicating and being like, yeah, I'm blocked on this one or I need
Yeah,
help. But
yeah.
like some people would not say anything, right? And there's some people that they just want to argue all through. They never do something. And like learning all this, like taking all this in and synthesizing it into you actually produce results for your company
Mm-hmm.
because that's the main thing. It took a toll on me, and I was also trying to interview to like look for new things because I had been in the company at that point long enough. There was a lot coming up, so we were going to travel to Nigeria. We were going to do Hajj this year. A couple of other things that I don't even want to talk about now. Just breathing through all of that. End of the day, I'll be like reading, practicing algorithms, weekend. I wasn't even really going out like in the first half of the year. I was like locked in, and this was the period where, as I was saying, like my husband was really on top of things, like eating. Okay, we'll eat this, take blah, blah. It was really supportive. And so, if I divide that by us going for Hajj, I think the Hajj experience is something that I'll probably even talk about publicly. But it was yeah, I'm looking for the word to use. It was an interesting one and it was very physically taxing due
Mm-hmm.
to a couple of things that happened. And so I was going to start my new role right after Hajj, right? And it's like there wasn't time for me to rest. And so
You have
coming off
to.
the back of all these things that happened, all the stress over the month, I'm starting my new job. By the way, my new job also means I need to go into office a lot more, right? I'm on the tube a lot
And
more.
literally, like, you're starting, yes, there's that skill, like, transfer you have, but literally,
Starting a new job is I'm not even going to approach it from like a technical perspective. Technical skills will always be there. It's like,
yeah,
what's the expectation in this new
exactly.
environment? How do you come? In fact, I think most of the things I've struggled with is not the tech, it's not the syntax. I mean, there will
Mhm.
always be things where you need to read. It's this new environment, what do they value?
What are they
What
doing
do they
here?
prioritize? Exactly. What's the domain knowledge? It's also finance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to go into like how complicated that is. Anyway, then I think I've talked about this before. Like I got the news that my uncle was
Yeah.
late, and this is someone I saw when we went to Nigeria, and everything I was still like sucking it up. Like I can't, because even my boss at work was like, I can take time off. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to, and I should. I was just like, will I sit at home and be doing what? Like my husband will also go to work.
You
Will
know,
I
this
be
is what I
and
always think. Like, my
will
holidays are always for
like
activities.
will I
Me,
not
I
be
will sit down.
playful? Exactly. So I kept going, and at a point, I like my body just could not do it anymore. I also wasn't sleeping well. So when you
Yeah.
were talking about not sleeping, I was guzzling coffee just to like maintain some level of normalcy in the outside. And I think one of my friends said something to me recently. She said, "I've never seen you like this before."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow," because this is someone that has known me for a long time. So she knows me, and she's like, yeah, like she's like holding me like egg now
Not
because she's like,
normal.
we
Yeah.
don't want you to fall to that level you were in. So, I had to do a lot of working. First of all, talking to Allah a lot about these things. Like,
Yeah.
grief is normal, feeling overwhelmed by being in a new environment is normal. Going out more is also a lot. Like, I get overstimulated easily. Like, there's sometimes I don't want to talk to people. If
Yeah.
you're at work, chances are people won't talk to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of socializing in my job as well because we do a lot of social. So having to figure out what I am okay with, how much I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
versus what doesn't make me seem like she's antisocial, she doesn't want to talk to us. So all this swelling in my head, I just had to take it to God that help me navigate this, right? I had a lot of support around me, my friends, my husband, my family. My mom was checking in on me as
Mm-hmm.
well because she knew that no, my daughter is not okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to say I'm like 100% anymore because this is actually the first time in my life where I think I don't have like a burning career goal. I just want to say I'm doing my job really well, or well at least. It's not fired me. you know, my relationship with God is, I'm trying day by day to improve
Alhamdulillah.
it.
Yeah.
My friendships, I'm also trying, like, I might not be the best right now just
Mm-hmm.
due to the fact that I'm just putting my pieces together as well. But it's like, goodness, like, you don't want to break down. Don't do it. So I would say this year has been a masterclass that I've said in like, just how bad it can get, even for me, you physically, if you're totally like off balance and like a lot of things are happening and you're not properly internalizing it and you just feel like, oh, let me keep marching on.
Mhm.
It's not a good recipe. Like it's a recipe for disaster, so to speak.
Yeah. I think the important thing would be that one, like, you can maintain 100% balance all year long.
No,
Let's
no.
already let's
Let's
already
let's clear that up.
yeah, let's say that out. But I think the moment you start to feel this thing is it's not this is not the balance
Yeah.
I work
And
best
the way
at.
we will show you, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So, like,
Yeah,
try to take a step back and
recalibrate.
understand, and early on as well, like, because if you keep piling it up,
Exactly. Me, I
yes.
was doing coconut head 1 month. Second month like this.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah. So, like, you should come at the stage now where what, like you said, maybe I do, maybe I don't even know right now. Like, what is my career goal in the next X years?
Girl,
Also,
you have to be
I need
honest.
a
Like,
paycheck by the end of the month because there are a lot of
and it's
there are
fine,
a lot of bills that needs to
Do
be
you know
paid.
the worst part? Like, I was telling my friend that me, that I'm always looking for a challenging route. I'm not looking for. was not laughing
Oh,
at me.
my
Yeah, I don't want challenge again. So she was laughing at me that she remind me again
life.
when I come back to her and say, I want to do this thing.
Yeah.
She's like, now she gets that, I need to rest. But she just feels like my very nature, you will still come and say, oh, I have this thing I want to achieve. And you know what? It's fine. Like, if you need to take a step back,
Mm-hmm.
part of balance is also being okay physically, being okay
Yeah.
mentally, realizing that, oh, I need 1 week off. And by the way, 1 week off when you're an adult is not like you can drop everything and run away. They play. Because you have to plan your finances, you have to plan everything that relies on you. It could just be, I'm doing my job, I'm worshiping my Lord.
Yeah.
I don't have any burning weekend goals. I'm not studying anything extra. I'm not doing any course for the next month. And yeah, you're good.
I mean,
So,
yeah. I had that. I think last year, all through last year. I don't think I really all the
guys,
all the movies I've been wanting to watch. Oh my god, I
you
watched
want it,
like
maybe. Oh,
movies.
goodness. Yeah.
And all the movies I've been wanting to see. And I think looking back, I don't regret taking that chill step
Exactly.
back. Yeah,
Exactly.
like I'm happy internally. I'm happy
That you
outside
did that.
that I
Yeah.
did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah.
So, again, balance for me is about like the recognizing that you're just in different seasons all the
Mhm,
time.
mhm.
Earlier
I've
on
been
this
used to
year,
go all hard, and there are seasons
exactly.
to just
Earlier on this
relax
year, I
and
needed to lock in. I
yeah.
needed to do a lot of things. Achieved it and thought I could keep blazing like that. But life
Mhm.
happened, and I'm calming down now. Calming down doesn't mean I'm shirking my responsibilities
Exactly.
or
Or yeah, even maybe not actualizing the career goals you or the like, oh,
exactly
okay, I'm
like.
just ambitious. You are not.
No,
And yeah,
not. On the
exactly.
contrary, like this rest time is giving me
I
ideas.
think yeah,
My
exactly. Because
brain
I
is
put my first
very.
question
But when
in,
you are tired, when you're bogged down, you
you
can't
don't have
even
the
think.
time to.
I'm always forever saying to people that, do you know what? I want to zoom out of the perspective of
Mhm.
everyday life. I want to see bigger picture. And you can only do that if you are what? Well rested.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Just floating in time and this. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So like I said, I already have my routine of I start my day early. So I start my day early. I was at my solar, get ready for work. Um, for morning NASCAR, I found out that like doing it on my commute to work helps because I'm able to utilize that time to just it's not a waste of time. So I do that. Then I'll work as well. One thing I'm sort of grateful for is I don't have much of my closer colleagues working together with me. I only have one or two that we sit together and it's the time for on gist, yeah, exactly. Like no yapping around. So I just go in, log in, do stuff. Then during break, I go for lunch with my colleagues. Then I also use that one to do my so you can see there's like layers of routine because I know and not necessarily layers of routine, finding what works for me. So I figured out okay, doing my ASCAR on my commute to work works for me because I'm able to utilize that time and I'm also like on like maximizing my journey to work. That during lunch, I go for lunch, I pray, I eat, I pray. That's like solar already done. I'm more like literally not having time for solar or like maybe just scrambling to say, okay, where can I quickly go for solar that it will not affect my job. Then on my way home as well, sometimes I read a book on the train, sometimes I do ask her, sometimes I just sit and just let my head like calm down. Yeah. Everything that I'm going through, priorities or things I need to do in the day. Your solar is not like you don't have excuse for not observing. So exactly. So then the next question, the next layer will be, okay, how do I maximize my day such that I'm not overwhelmed? So imagine having to combine praying, Zoroastrian, Maghrib, Isha together. By the time you're even doing the ruku and everything, like I, I, you're already tired. So why not just see how you can make your day work for you? I think in the last gathering, someone said something around making a day work for us. So yeah, exactly. Like you're not exactly. So you are not saying, oh, today is Monday. Okay, what should I do on Monday? Today is Monday. I need to do X, Y, Z. How do we exactly would work around that Monday? So yeah, I think that. Mm, 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 you're in. Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Mhm. Yeah. 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 And from all walks of life as well. So I think that yeah. Ghana. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all of this is dunya. So we pray that Allah, may Almighty Allah grant us the best in this dunya. We still need money to live in this world, so and ultimately the best in the year after. And may He make us better Muslims. We every time we can only strive. I mean, nobody is perfect. We can only strive. And we pray that He continue to grant us the strength to carry on, to pass our day. Yeah. Okay. Bye.